Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right? That daily dance, trying to pin down a time for, well, anything. A
Yeah.
coffee, a big work meeting, maybe even just the dentist.
Oh, yeah. We all do it scheduling things constantly.
Exactly. But how often do we really stop and think about the actual words we use? Or maybe the unspoken signals we're sending out there?
It's definitely more than just looking at calendars and finding a free slot, isn't it? There's this whole other layer underneath. Communication, intention.
Yeah.
It dictates how things go, sometimes smoothly, sometimes, well, not so smoothly.
Absolutely. And that's really what this deep dive is all about today. We're going to navigate the tricky bits of making an appointment. Our mission, really, is to give you not just the practical phrases that we'll cover those, but also a better handle on the dynamics so you can manage your calendar, understand those subtle rules, maybe with a bit more ease.
And we've got a really interesting source for this. It's actually an English learning transcript.
Right. Seems simple at first glance.
Totally. Super straightforward. But when you deep dive into it, there are some incredibly practical things in there. And even this one moment of, like, unexpected humor that tells you a lot about our everyday interactions.
Okay, let's get into it. So the source material kicks off with a pretty standard scenario. Julianne Horton, she's calling Fairbrook Consulting,
Yep. Trying to set up a meeting.
wants to arrange an appointment with a Miss McNeely. And the first bit is pretty typical back and forth. Julianne suggests Thursday.
McNeely's busy. Not available.
Aye. So Julianne says, okay, how about next Monday?
Mhm.
But then she's the one who's busy all day.
Classic scheduling ping pong.
Totally. Finally, Tuesday comes up. And the consultant on the line says, sure, Tuesday's perfect.
Sounds like we're all set, doesn't it?
You'd think so, but this is where it gets, well, fascinating. Just as it seems locked in, the office asks Julianne, where are you calling from?
And the answer? Marin Financial Advisors.
And here's the kicker. Right after she says that, the consultant immediately changes tune. It's like, oh, actually, Tuesday's no good. Sorry about that.
Whoops. Sudden change of
And
plan.
really abrupt change, yeah.
So what's going on there? I mean, the funny part is pretty clear, right? Miss McNeely hears financial advisors, and suddenly Tuesday is, completely full.
Yeah, suddenly booked solid, perhaps.
Exactly. It just highlights how scheduling isn't always just about matching free time. Hidden agendas, personal preferences, they absolutely play a role.
It's so relatable, though. We've all been there, maybe dodging a certain call or just sensing that sudden shift from the other person.
It's a good reminder there's often more going on than just finding an open hour.
It really is. But okay, beyond the slightly awkward humor there, this source is actually packed with useful language. Let's build out your scheduling toolkit, starting with a really fundamental word, available.
Right. So available. On the surface, super simple, means not busy or free.
The core idea, yeah.
It is. It's the basic building block for finding a meeting time. But the way you use available, that's kind of an art.
How so?
Well, the source shows someone saying they're tied up with meetings until Wednesday, but then they can make time Thursday afternoon. See? It's about specifying when you're available.
Okay.
And that example, Thursday at 2 p.m., being a perfect fit, it shows how being clear about availability leads directly to a concrete plan.
That makes sense. So it's more than just knowing the word. What's the sort of strategic edge for you, the listener, in how you talk about your availability? Is it better to just ask, when are you free, or something else?
That's a great question. Look, asking when are you available is fine. It's polite, but often a more efficient way, maybe more assertive too, is to offer specific blocks yourself.
Like what?
Instead of waiting, you could say, okay, I'm available Tuesday afternoon, say between 2 and 4, or I've got Wednesday morning before 11.
Ah, okay. So you lead with your options.
Exactly. It sets clear boundaries, speeds things up, especially if you're, juggling a lot lately or things feel really hectic. It respects everyone's time, including your own.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, double check. Seems obvious, right? Just gonna check twice, check again.
Yeah.
But why is this little action so vital in scheduling?
It's essential for accuracy, yes, avoiding mix-ups, but I think it also sends a deeper message. Professionalism, care.
Tell me more.
The source uses it for confirming calendar spots, like,
Right.
hang on, let me double check my calendar. Makes sense. But it's also about making sure everyone's on the same page before the presentation next week.
Right, shared understanding.
Exactly. When you say, I'll double check, you're signaling you're reliable. Think about confirming that Thursday at 3 p.m. for a project review. Double-checking isn't just about avoiding a clash.
What else is it doing?
It's building confidence. It reduces anxiety for everyone involved. That little bit of effort gives peace of mind.
So it's not just about being correct. It's about trust. And being thorough. That's actually quite a powerful little phrase. How does that help someone who's already got a really packed schedule?
Oh, it's crucial then. That simple habit, double-checking, can honestly save you from this cascade of problems if something goes wrong.
Right, the domino effect.
Totally. It's about being proactive, preventing fires instead of putting them out. Super important when your schedule already feels packed and you just, you can't afford to fall behind.
Okay, let's move to scheduled. This just means something's planned or booked at that time. Sounds like stating a fact. But what does saying something is scheduled communicate in terms of like respect and keeping things smooth?
It's important because it immediately flags up a pre-existing commitment. The source has a simple example. I've got a lunch scheduled this afternoon.
Straightforward.
Yep. When you use scheduled or you hear it, it draws a clear line. It says, okay, this person's time isn't infinitely flexible. It's about not just assuming someone is free. By using the word, you're confirming you get it. You respect that reality, which is just basic professional courtesy, really.
So it's like saying, I get you have other things going on. I'm not expecting you to drop everything for me. That feels like a respectful way to operate in a busy world.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, this one's quite vivid. Booked solid, meaning no free time, no available time, maybe appointments all day long. It's a strong way to say you're completely unavailable, but isn't there a risk? Could you sound a bit, I don't know, unapproachable if you just say, I'm booked solid? How do you balance that?
That's a really good point, because booked solid is super effective for making it clear your plate is absolutely full.
Yeah.
The source gives great examples, right? Back-to-back meetings, having such a packed schedule, maybe conference calls all morning, then client meetings all afternoon.
Yeah, paints a picture.
Definitely. But you're right, there's an art to using it. You want to signal unavailability without just like slamming the door shut on the conversation.
So how would you do that? Soften it somehow.
Exactly. You could soften it by immediately suggesting an alternative or showing you wish you could help. Like, oh, I'm booked solid this week, unfortunately, but how does early next week look for you?
Okay.
Or maybe, gosh, I'm booked solid right now, but perhaps my colleague Sam could help. Or I can definitely follow up next month. It shows you're not just dismissing them.
You're still trying to find a solution?
Right. You acknowledge that feeling. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed with everything on my plate, but you still manage expectations respectfully. And it helps you empathize when someone else says they're booked solid too. It keeps those relationships healthy.
That adds a nice layer of nuance to what seems like a very blunt phrase. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's look at some phrases for action. Actually making the appointment happen.
Making the ask.
Yeah. When you're initiating the request, what does the source show us? We have things like, I'm calling to arrange an appointment with Miss McNeely. Pretty formal.
Very direct.
And then maybe something a bit less formal, like, I was wondering if you're available to meet up sometime this week.
Both work great. They just set the stage differently. The formal one signals a clear professional purpose. Calling to arrange, no messing about.
Right.
I was wondering if you're available is softer, more conversational, good for colleagues, maybe friends. It opens the door for a more open-ended chat about timing. Both get the ball rolling on negotiating time.
Okay. Then suggesting times. The source has simple, effective questions. How's Thursday? How's Tuesday? Direct questions. Invite a quick yes, no, maybe. Efficient.
Gets the process moving.
But what about when the first try or the second doesn't work? Like in the transcript example.
Yes. Navigating unavailability. And this is where flexibility comes in. The dialogue shows it perfectly. Monday is no good. I'm busy all day. Okay, decline. But then immediately propose something else. How's Tuesday?
And if that's also no good?
Sorry, Tuesday's no good either. What about Wednesday? And then success? Okay, Wednesday works. The source really emphasizes being flexible with the time to eventually find that slot.
So that back and forth, even if it feels a bit like a juggling act?
It is. But it shows mutual effort. Both sides are trying to make it work. That's key.
And then the final step, confirming details. The dialogue mentions the location, downtown cafe near the main office, and the exact time, Friday at 3:30 p.m. Why is nailing down these specifics so crucial for that feeling of, okay, good to have this appointment scheduled?
Because it just wipes out any doubt, any ambiguity.
Leaves no room for error.
Precisely. Clear details mean everything's clear. It prevents that last-minute panic or confusion or someone showing up at the wrong place or time.
Yeah, we've all had that happen.
Right, so confirming specifics solidifies the plan. Both people walk away feeling confident it's locked in, takes the guesswork out, lets everyone move on.
You know, it's really fascinating here. When you break it down like this, these aren't just like random English phrases you memorize. They're actual tools. Tools for communicating effectively in the real world, and they reveal quite a bit about how we interact with each other.
Totally agree. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, I mean, this language is so versatile, you use it everywhere, right?
All the time.
Scheduling a meeting with your boss, sure, but also making a doctor's appointment, arranging for your kids to hang out, even just planning something fun with friends. Understanding the kind of the subtle power behind these phrases can really transform how you handle those interactions.
Which brings up, I think, a really important question.
Hmm.
How does getting better at these seemingly small communication details actually help us?
Yeah.
Does it lead to, more efficiency, less stress, maybe even stronger relationships, both at work and just generally?
I think it absolutely can. So today we've taken this deep dive into both the practical words and the subtle art of making appointments. We pulled out some really useful insights from that source transcript, things you can apply right away.
Yeah, from understanding why someone might suddenly become booked solid,
Yeah.
those hidden reasons maybe, to feeling more confident suggesting times, navigating the back and forth, and confirming everything clearly. Hopefully you feel a bit better equipped for this essential everyday task.
So here's something to think about. We live in a world where our time feels more and more fragmented, right? Our schedules often feel like that constant juggling act. How might getting a deeper grasp of these simple-seeming communication tools empower you? Not just to manage your calendar better, but maybe, just maybe, to master the flow of your life and your connections a little bit more effectively.